Wrestling and lawsuits are no strangers to one another, with litigious action seemingly part and parcel of the sports entertainment game. Whether it's wrestlers suing wrestlers, wrestlers suing companies, companies suing wrestlers, or companies suing companies, some legal eagling is required every now and again to protect assets and reputations, and to help put Jerry McDevitt's grandkids through college. Sometimes, however, lawsuits can cross into the frivolous, speculative, and often downright surreal for a variety of reasons. I'm Adam Pacitti from Cultaholic Wrestling, and these are 10 ridiculous pro wrestling lawsuits. Case dismissed. Number 10. Diamond Dallas Page sues Jay-Z. We kick things off with a lawsuit that was both in many ways ridiculous and entirely justified. In 2005, lawyers for former WCW World Champion and yoga guru Diamond Dallas Page served papers to the camp of rap sensation Jay-Z, claiming Beyoncé's beau had illegally adopted Page's diamond cutter hand symbol. The suit accused Rockefeller Records and the rapper of trademark infringement and misappropriation. According to DDP's lawyer, George Galagos, fans would come up to the wrestler and ask him if he had licensed the hand symbol to Jay-Z or whether he was just letting him use it. Some fans, he claimed, accused Dallas of stealing it from the man behind hits like 99 Problems. After Page and his team were able to prove that he had used the trademarked symbol for around a decade at that stage, pointing to assorted merchandise displaying it, Jay-Z was forced to cough up and pay, with Dallas receiving an undisclosed settlement before the case went to trial. Talk about getting some buck for your bang! Number 9. Cameraman sues Titus O'Neil over SWERVED prank. Titus O'Neil seems like a great guy, always going above and beyond for charity and doing so much for the community. The Warrior Award he received is recognition of that, but Titus's WWE tenure hasn't always been smooth sailing. From getting suspended and missing WrestleMania after engaging in some unwanted horseplay with Vince McMahon to shockmastering himself into infamy, there have been some lows to go along with the good work that he's done. The lowest moment was probably when he was sued by a cameraman working on WWE Network show SWERVED in 2017. As part of one of the prank skits, Titus was shocked with a cattle prod by fellow WWE star Page. According to documents filed, O'Neil, real name Thaddeus Bullard, became enraged afterwards and kicked the camera out of the hands of Donald Anderson, injuring him. Anderson's suit alleged battery, willful misconduct, negligence, gross negligence, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and negligent inflection of emotional distress. He dropped it in 2019 after agreeing to a settlement. Let that be a lesson to anyone who is shocked with a cattle prod while at work. Number 8. Prison inmate sues NATALYA. As a member of the famous Hart wrestling family, Natalya Neidhart would have been used to experiencing her fair share of craziness while growing up in the business. Nothing, however, could have prepared her for the lawsuit that landed at her feet in the summer of 2014. Christopher Donnelly, a prison inmate in the state of Pennsylvania, sued Natty and accused her of being an evil dominatrix who abused him between 2004 and 2009. According to him, the WWE star beat him in hotel rooms across the country and had forced him to sell himself, among other unsavory allegations. Donnelly, who was representing himself, sought $250,000 in damages for mental and psychological trauma. As you've probably already gathered, not a single part of his tall tale was true, and was quite possibly the fella bringing an imagined Total Diva storyline to life. It took the judge about 30 seconds to throw the case out and reprimand the clearly delusional bloke for wasting everybody's time. Although, now I think about it, there was an actual dungeon in Grandpa Stu's basement. Just saying. Number 7. Missy HYATT sues Bill Alfonso over car crash. One day in 2002, Missy HYATT went over to Bill Alfonso's place in Tampa, Florida, pouring her heart out to the referee-cum-manager about a breakup with her strip club owner boyfriend. She asked Fonzie to take her out to lunch and, as part of the deal, wanted him to drive them there in her brand new Porsche. En route, a car in front of them slammed on the brakes, causing a crash. Missy then apparently went from sobbing over her man trouble to screaming at the whistleblower, demanding that he pay for the damages. A few days later, Missy's representatives called Bill and told him that they would drop the charges if he agreed to appear with HYATT on the Judge Mathis court TV show. Fonzie agreed and went on the largely scripted show, where he was ordered to pay Missy $500 for the damage to her vehicle. Of course, the whole thing was one big work and was basically done so that the producers of the show would pay for the wreck in exchange for the wrestling star's appearance, while also providing a nice shop window for HYATT to promote her recently released autobiography. Number 6, Shawn Michaels sues Shawn Michaels. He thinks he's cute. He knows he's sexy. In 2003, WWE superstar Shawn Michaels issued a cease and desist order via WWE attorney Lauren A. Biens-Midland to adult film entertainment titan Shawn Michaels. The reason, as I'm sure you can suss out, had to do with the similar sounding but differently spelled name the pair shared. A representative for the actor said that WWE had claimed that the Heartbreak Kid was being confused with him, and that WWE made the comment that any merchandise that the SEAN Michaels decided to put out would lead to those in the marketplace to believe it had been made, approved, or sponsored by WWE. Alright then. The representative further stated that the star of such epics as Tushy Heaven and Lick Me 3 was being forced to sign the cease and desist under the threat of being taken to court. What WWE didn't realise is that Shawn Michaels had his name trademarked 4 years before, while Shawn Michaels had not, though WWE did have 2 abandoned registrations dated 1997. The adult entertainer was surprised and angered by the order and threatened to countersue, seemingly scaring WWE away. Number 5, Jerry Lawler sues WWE over the King. When it comes to Memphis, Tennessee, Jerry Lawler is well and truly the king. Well, and maybe that bloke with the quiff and the white jumpsuits, but as far as wrestling is concerned, Lawler was and is the king of Memphis. And boy did he know it, and boy was he annoyed about WWE promoting the King Harley race when they stopped through the volunteer state in May of 1987. Jerry filed suit on May the 20th after the former NWA champion appeared on a card in Nashville the previous evening, while scheduled to appear at Memphis's Mid-South Coliseum the following night. According to the suit, Lawler claimed that the promotion of race was an infringement on his intellectual trademark and said that race's use of the title deceived the public, caused him to lose money, and damaged his reputation. Incredibly, a Memphis court judge sided with the local hero and against WWE, preventing Handsome Harley from working as the king when passing through Lawler territory. Jerry claimed that Vince McMahon wasn't mad at him for doing it, and they actually gave him more respect in the eyes of the chairman. Number 4, fan sues WWE for $500 billion. Look, we all got a little bored and a tad stir-crazy during the pandemic, but we didn't all go and sue WWE for $500 billion, did we? Well, a man named Cedric Cunningham did, filing suit against the organization in a Florida court on January 25th, 2021. The lawsuit claimed emotional distress, cruel and unusual punishment, and discrimination, according to court documents. Cunningham's complaint, which was lengthy and handwritten, accused WWE of using sorcery to degrade him to millions of viewers during their television broadcasts. I mean, what? Judge Raj Singhal was quick to dismiss the case, stating that it would be a waste of public funds to proceed. Gee, you think? He denied any further motions, and Cedric's hopes of a hefty payday disappeared. I would wager to guess that many fans have considered legal action against Vince McMahon after sitting through stuff like Katie Vick, Dr. Heine, and the entire saga of Alexa Bliss and Lily the Doll, but most of the times they just, turn the TV off or something. Number 3, WWE and 2K sued over Randy Orton's tattoos. When video game developer 2K were working on the design for Randy Orton for their WWE games, they probably didn't foresee any major problems. The Viper, one of WWE's top stars, would obviously be a playable character, and his well-defined look is one that's easy to recreate. Orton's tattoo artist, who had helped ink his arms from wrist to shoulders, took exception to her work being included in the series without being compensated. Catherine Alexander sued WWE and 2K in the summer of 2020, with Illinois federal judge Stacey Yandel ruling that 2K had copied the work. The case is still pending and set to go to trial, though the date has continually been pushed back. While Orton licensed his likeness to WWE, who in turn licensed it to 2K, the question is whether Alexander retains some rights to the tattoos once they start being reproduced outside of Randy's body. Per the tattoo artist's deposition, she approached WWE in 2009 when they were going to sell a faux sleeve with Orton's tattoo designs, claiming someone from their legal department laughed in her face and offered her $450, which she declined. Number 2, production company sues WWE over Diva search. I cannot imagine why anyone would want to receive credit for coming up with the Diva search, but apparently a group of people was so enraged that WWE stole their idea that they sued the company over it. Back in July of 2004, Pushing the Lope Entertainment, along with producers John Pierre Marini and Frank Mergia, filed suit against WWE, claiming to be the ones behind the concept. According to the press release, their idea was presented, with help from Trish Stratus, to executive producer Kevin Dunn on January 4th of that year. Dunn, who was impressed and excited by the idea, then presented it himself directly to Jim Ross and Vince McMahon. Pushing the Lope claimed to have written and verbal proof that Dunn agreed to send a letter of intent to them about being partners on the project, and that they had written a letter of agreement with Stratus, who they cited as co-creator. However, the lines of communication went dead before McMahon announced the Diva search live on Raw. To be fair to WWE, they did trial the concept in a modified version the year before and had previously done Tough Enough. Not sure what came of the lawsuit, I suspect nothing, but interestingly, Pierre Marini ended up working for WWE as a writer and backstage producer between 2009 and 2010. Number 1, Hulk Hogan sues Vince Russo. Everything about the controversial events that transpired at WCW's Bash at the Beach 2000 was stupid. The gist of it was that some sort of weird worked shoot turned into an actual shoot, as WCW champion Jeff Jarrett laid down for Hulk Hogan in lieu of an actual match, only for the Hulkster to legitimately leave the building on the assumption that he would be back at a later date, which was the cue for Vince Russo to come out and cut a scathing promo trashing and then publicly firing him. When Hulk became aware of this, he promptly filed a lawsuit claiming defamation against WCW and Russo, saying the Bash at the Beach incident placed him in a false light and damaged his character and reputation. He also sued WCW for breach of contract, which WCW counterclaimed, saying that Hogan had only appeared in 2 of 6 obligated pay-per-view appearances. The whole thing dragged on for years before it was ultimately decided. The court threw out the part that argued Russo had defamed Hogan, but a confidential settlement on the breach of contract portion was reached, with Eric Bischoff claiming that Hulk made out like a red and yellow bandit. The lesson here? Don't be a jabroni mark without a life that don't know it's a work when you work a work and work yourself into a shoot. Marks.